Dio is arguably the strongest character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
You might want to hold off.
Okay, listen, his standard world allows him to stop time for several seconds, giving him free reign to win 99% of conflicts. This doesn't even include his vampiric abilities, which gives him an edge over everyone else. All throughout Stardust Crusaders, Dio was hyped up as an otherworldly threat that needed to be stopped as soon as possible. Even his own subordinate sensed his looming danger, but his attempts at wiping out this potential calamity ended in failure. With Dio being set up as an unstoppable force, how exactly did he get clapped by a roided up teenager? I know he basically had the same stand as Star Platinum, but Dio had many opportunities to wipe out all his opposition. So sit back, enjoy, and here's a list of the many ways Dio could have or should have approached these encounters to better guarantee his victory. The first and most obvious way Dio could have won is, actually utilizing his stand better. Dio can stop time for upwards of 5 seconds, with everyone pretty much being defenseless during this state. The stand's strength is huge, casually punching holes through people like nothing. Why is it then when Dio has an opportunity to kill his rivals, he instead takes the time to mess with them and make speeches? If Dio let go of his arrogant viewpoint, the Stardust Crusaders would have been a stain on a wall. Since they didn't know what his abilities were, Dio could have easily donuted all of them in a few seconds. Dio's biggest obstacle would have been Jojo, but my previous point still stands. Early on in their conflict, Jojo hadn't gotten a hand of time stop yet, only being able to slightly move certain body parts and later making a stand do counterattacks for 2 seconds. Dio shouldn't have been so intimidated by a finger twitch. Once Dio saw this, he could have taken measures to eliminate Jojo as soon as possible, instead of casually flying up to him, making speeches, and throwing a couple knives. Dio playing with his food is what eventually spelled his downfall. Kakyoin was pretty much the MVP of the entire final battle. His intellect and sheer skill with his stand allowed him to eventually deduce Dio's stand ability at the cost of his own life. In his final waking moments, he was able to relay his findings to Joseph, who later told Jojo the same thing, eventually leading to an easier victory. But okay, what if Dio had just killed Kakyoin instantly? If he was dead on the spot, Dio's stand ability would have still been a big mystery for a majority of the time. I know Dio honestly wasn't thinking about that in their encounter. The hole through Kakyoin's chest probably seemed like a guaranteed kill to him. But if I was Dio, I wouldn't have taken any chances. These were the same people who managed to overcome wave after wave of stand users, each time becoming stronger and stronger. They clearly had a powerful ability to overcome any obstacle. Knowing this, Dio could have made extra sure Kakyoin was dead before moving on to his next target. But once again, his ego may have slightly clouded his judgment. A lot of people like to claim that most of Dio's vampire abilities were gone due to him being within Jonathan's body. However, there isn't any concrete evidence supporting this fact. Yes, he said he got weaker, but that doesn't necessarily mean he was cut off from his vampire abilities entirely. I like to think that Dio viewed his stand as far more superior to his old powers, to the point that he didn't really want to use them anymore. Let's go with the assumption that he still has access to his abilities. Well then, that would have made his fight with Jojo much easier. Dio could have used the world to distract Star Platinum while he went in for the kill, with either his laser eyes or his increased strength. Vanilla Ice is probably the strongest servant Dio has by his side. Not only is he intelligent, but his stand ability is arguably the third strongest in Part 3. His stand allows him to erase any piece of matter he touches, regardless of how durable it is. The void orb he uses to navigate around can move at massively high speeds. With all this said, why wasn't he sent to eliminate Jojo and his team ahead of time? Vanilla Ice was powerful enough to eliminate 2 out of the 6 Stardust Crusaders all by himself, and maybe even 3 if it wasn't for some unfortunate timing. His stand may have had a bit of a weakness, but his vampire abilities made him extremely difficult to kill. If Ice had somehow lured them to a building with tight hallways during the very start of the night, he could pick them all off one by one, until he eventually achieves victory. So we all know size does matter in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
That's why Dio should have set every stand user at his disposal to kill the Crusaders. Just one stand user already gave them a tough time. Dozens of them coming at them all at once would have been a death sentence. We've seen the kind of trouble just two of them can bring. Imagine the combined forces of Judgment Zombies and Justice Puppets. The combined forces of every stand user would have just been too much for them to handle. Hell, the Crusaders always seem to get separated at crucial times. What if you trick the separated Crusaders into gambling with both Darby brothers, and once the first batch of souls are collected, send a bunch of stand users to finish off the remaining ones. Trap them in a desert with the sun, and use Gib to pick them off when they're weak. There's many combinations that would have been extremely effective. Perhaps the stand users don't like working together? That's the only real explanation I can think of. Pushi was supposedly around during this time. His ability to remove stands and memories could have been a huge asset during this time, especially if he combined forces with the other stand users. Dio could have even sent a bunch of stand users when the group just consisted of Jotaro, Abdul, and Joseph. That may have been overkill at the time, but these are the descendants of the man who almost killed him. He didn't have to take any chances. Dio has claimed that getting more Joestar blood would help him achieve greater heights. This can be seen when the world's time duration increased from 5 seconds to 9 seconds immediately after consuming Joseph's blood. However, this had me thinking, why didn't Dio just send someone to collect Jotaro or Joseph's blood to help him increase his power? We've seen that the enemy stand users are fully capable of making the Joestars bleed. There should have been someone on standby, ready to scoop up a vial of blood. Once Dio increased his power, he could have used the opportunity to finish off the Joestar bloodline entirely. Yeah, we all know Dio is a cocky and arrogant character. He views his stand as unstoppable, and doesn't think anything can stand up to it. If Dio had thought things through more, the events of Stardust Crusaders could have ended in seconds.
アリーベ・デルチ